What's up, and welcome to another edition of the Cover 2 Recap. I'm Edward Lewis, publisher of BruinSportsport.com. This is Joey Coffin, the UCLA beat writer for the OC Register. We're here today at the Rose Bowl where UCLA beat Colorado 35-31, and beat is probably the wrong word. It's probably more of survived Colorado. Tell me what you saw today and what you thought of UCLA's performance against Colorado today.
It's one of the stranger football games I feel like I've watched. One team had 114 plays, had the ball essentially for a 20-minute stretch of the game, had the ball for 14 minutes and 3 seconds in the second quarter. The other team ran 59 plays and barely had the ball, and they won the game. I mean, I've just never – that's such a rare – football's a unique sport and interesting because so many things can happen. I think that's kind of illustrates how weird the game can be sometimes. That's what stands out to me.
Yeah, Colorado had the ball for 41 of the 60 minutes and lost the game. A really wacky game, really crazy game. A lot of injuries. Kenny Young went down. Josh Woods, the true freshman, had to burn a red shirt. He went down. Marcus Rios went down, which caused Nate Metters to come in and get the pick. So many guys are injured that Tom Bradley said at one point he was just running 2 defenses for the entire game. He basically scrapped the whole game plan. It's not really hurting them right now. I mean, they won 2 in a row now, and they're 6-2, and they're going to be in a good spot to have a shot at the Pac-12 South Championship. But, I mean, at some point these injuries are going to hurt them, right?
Yeah, the thing that is interesting is none of the injuries appear to be – a lot of the injuries early in the season, Eddie Vanderdoes, Fabian Moreau, those were season-ending injuries, Miles Jack. The ones today weren't. Isako, I think, will eventually come back. It's supposed to be a high ankle sprain. Some of the other ones don't appear to be as long. Devin Fuller had the ankle injury. Some of the guys will come back. None of the injuries were kind of too long, I think, which will help them.
Yeah, it's just kind of been like this all year. I mean, you lose guys every game, every play, every down. I mean, they're losing dudes. And Jim Mora in the postgame press conference was one of the most excited I've ever seen him. I believe he said this was one of my most satisfying wins, which you wouldn't think would be something he'd say, versus a Colorado team that's really struggled. But he said, man, we were so banged up, so injured that this felt good. What did you take from his postgame presser?
There's a sense of relief, just like they were happy to get out of there and survive. I think it was just like this huge sigh of relief. It seemed like everything was going wrong. This player was going down. This player was going down. They couldn't get the ball back for what seemed like forever, and they still survived. I think there's kind of a sense of relief.
So a few games left on the schedule. Oregon State next week, Washington State, and then the 2 big ones, Utah and USC. Having seen this today, having seen their roster, having seen the injury situation, where do you think UCLA goes from here?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting because they're so beat up. And, I mean, one of the reasons Colorado was holding on to the ball so long is they were running so well. UCLA gave up 244 rushing yards. The third time this season they've given up 200-plus rushing yards. And you basically Colorado coach Mike McIntyre said after the game he felt like they were able to control the pace of the game. If you're UCLA, you don't really want Colorado, of all teams, to be controlling the pace of the game. You want to get them off the field. You want to get stops on third down. So that's not a really good indicator when you're going to go against Utah. You're going to go against USC later in the season. I'm curious how Washington State will be because they're not exactly going to pound the ball on the ground. They're going to throw the ball a ton against UCLA. They should take care of business next week against Oregon State, but those last 3 games, I mean, who knows how the Pac-12 South is going to go.
It's almost sad because, this team wins games, with all these guys injured. You kind of look back on it, you're like, man, if they had all these guys, can you imagine what the ceiling would be for this team? So it's going to be a tough haul. I mean, like you said, they probably should take care of business against Oregon State, but, man, those last 3 games aren't going to be easy. So
I feel like we should talk about the offense. We've talked a lot about the defense. You were pleased with Josh and how Josh looked today. What did you see from kind of the offense and Josh Rosen?
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, this offense has been fine. I know they ran 59 plays and had 35 points or whatever, and what did you think, 6.8 yards per play. Yeah. So it's fine. I mean, Rosen gets better and better every game. I know he struggled a little bit today and had the fumble, but to come back and make the throws that he made to win the game, he's an impressive prospect. And I know Paul was a little bit dinged up. He outran the entire Colorado defense on that 1 touchdown run. So they're fine. I think that offense is okay. If they can get that defense healthy, maybe they have a shot at beating Utah and USC down the stretch to win the Pac-12 South. But, man, all those injuries are piling up quick, man.
Yeah. The offense was fine to me, I thought. I mean, Rosen averaged 8 yards per pass attempt, mostly pretty good. The only thing that probably hurt them is they could have put the foot on the accelerator a lot more toward the beginning. It was 7-0 after the first quarter. They had a couple early drives, which were 3 and outs, and it seemed like a lot like Arizona State, where UCLA goes to Perkins a lot early. Perkins has 2 yards, 3 yards. They punt. They get kind of conservative, and when Perkins really gets going and he's going for 10 yards, 14 yards, when he's getting those long runs, that's when the offense really seems to gel out of the gate. But this kind of had that Arizona State feel at the beginning, where they weren't putting the foot on the accelerator. And against Cal, they really did. They were moving the ball a lot, kind of well out of the gate.
That'll wrap up our coverage from the Rose Bowl here today. As always, you can follow Joey's coverage of UCLA on Twitter at Joey R. Kaufman. You can follow me on Twitter at Edward_Lewis. Until next time, thanks for tuning in to the Cover 2 Recap.